Evening, sir. Two important VIPs are with us today. Sadan Das Gupta, Bhavendra Singh. Really, I am wholeheartedly inviting to this August meeting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Pranam, sir. Pranam.
Yeah, you please say thanks to your good friend Krishnamurthy.
Yeah. I have told him.
Yeah, we will start. Yes, Dr. Anupama.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, you please start.
Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Anupama, clinical psychologist working in Amara Hospital, Tirupati. Now, I request the honor of our beloved President, the Professor B.G. Reddy, sir, to grace the occasion. Now, I invite our General Secretary, Professor Subhashni ma'am. I also invite Treasurer, Professor Suresh sir. Now, I'm thrilled to invite two eminent speakers, Professor A.R. Krishnamurthy sir and also Professor Indrani Fukan Bura madam. Now, I request all the participants and all the EC members, coordinators to join the session, and I welcome you all. Now I hand over the session to Mrs. Vanaja.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Anupama Garu. Good evening, everyone. My name is Vanaja Sriperambuduru. I'm a psychologist and life coach. I do counseling for individuals and families. I do counseling for depression people and anxiety. And in the pandemic, I gave free counseling who is dealing with Corona. For them, above 600 people, I gave counselings. And I'm happy to share this. I received Best Women Psychologist Award from Telangana Psychology Association in 2020. Thank you. With lots of excitement and happiness, I welcome the President of World Congress of Psychologists, Professor B.G. Reddy Garu. First, let me introduce Sri B.G. Reddy Garu to all of you. It is indeed very tough to introduce great personalities in few minutes of time. But let me put this way. Professor B.G. Reddy has completed his PG and PhD from Department of Psychology, Sri Venkateswara University, Andhra Pradesh. He has joined as lecturer in 1985. Due to his passion and commitment towards his work, he was promoted as reader and professor of psychology, and then held the position of director twice in the same university and completed 30 years of service teaching students of BEd, MEd, and MSc psychology. He guided 17 PhD students and 18 MPhil students. And he written 14 psychology textbooks to Telugu Academy, Hyderabad, and published more than 60 research articles in different journals. To promote psychology and also well-being of psychologists, he has established many organizations. Professor B.G. Reddy is founder president of Inspire Professional Psychologists Society of India, that is IPPSI, and he's founder president of Superannuated Psychologists Society of India, that is SPSI, and founder honorary president of Unemployed Psychologists Society of India, UPSI, and founder president of World Congress of Psychologists, WCOP. As you know, this webinar organized by WCOP. All the above psychology associations have conducted many workshops, national and international conferences. In 2020 alone, 35 national webinars were organized. Professor B.G. Reddy has personally organized 55 physical awareness programs in various colleges and universities. And as a psychologist, he has extended counseling services to more than 1,500 families. Now, I request the president to give his opening remarks.
Good evening to everybody. Today, especially from our midst, today's eminent speakers, Professor Krishnamurti is with us. Professor Indrani ji, Madam is with us. And Sadandas Guptas are from northern states is with us. And one more, Bhupender Singh is also with us. And I welcome our own the executive committee members and core committee members who are with us, and welcome the coordinators of today's webinar. And last but not the least, I welcome all the today's participants. Today's topic, as you all know, that positive aspects of Indian culture before pandemic and during pandemic. This is the topic, quite interesting topic. And our eminent professors, Professor Krishnamurti, Professor Indrani ji is with us. And here I would like to say a few points. See, way back 10,000 years, the Indian culture started in India. India is a birthplace of Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. India is also a birthplace for Vedas and Upanishads. Coming to Vedas, there are 4 types of Vedas. Under that, first one is Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharvan Veda. Compared to the other parts of the world, the best literature written and available only in India. Say, for example, Meghaduta written by Kalidas, Arthasastra written by Chanakya, Kama Sutra written by Vatsayana, and Ramayana, Mahabharata. These are all epics written by an eminent personalities. They name all the names you know. Indian culture is one of the best cultures in the world. Indian travelers in the 18th century who visited India, they themselves stated that India is the #1 country as far as civilization is concerned. Apart from that, they gave a good note of Indians. Indians are good at art, good at knowledge, good at architecture, good at swordsmanship, good at infantry, and good at cooking. As far as art, music, dance, customs, traditions, as well as food preparation, all this, all right, all this varies from state to state in India. So India is a mixture of different religions, mixture of different cultures, mixture of different communities. India has more than 400 languages, and 15 languages are identified as official languages. We can see the reflection of Indian culture mainly in rural areas than urban areas. India is also good in contributing spiritual knowledge, This is also being accepted by all countries in the world. Finally, we can say Indian culture is filled with namaskarams and samskarams. Yes, thank you. This is the remarks I would like to say. Now I request Vanaja, just go ahead.
Thank you, President Sir, for your wonderful opening remarks. Now, I welcome today's first vibrant speaker, Professor A.R. Krishnamurthy ji. First, let me introduce him. Professor A.R. Krishnamurthy has served as professor and chairman in Department of Clinical Psychology, Kuvempu University, and also served as clinical psychology consultant and psychotherapist in Manasa Nursing Home in Shivamogga. He has guided 20 MPhil and 5 PhD students. He is regarded as one of the finest psychologists with more than 35 years of teaching experience and 25 years of practice in psychological treatment. He has the privilege to serve as Board of Study member and chairman in Bangalore University, Tumkur University, and Kuvempu University. For his extraordinary work and achievements, he was awarded with Best Resource Person Award by Mysore Manasa Educational Foundation and Sri APJ Abdul Kalam Achievement Award. Now, I request Professor Krishnamurthy ji to give his talk on the topic Positive Aspects of Indian Culture Before Pandemic. Sir, now floor is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Vanaja. It is my pleasure to give some or share my thoughts in this regard. When Professor Reddy brought out a list of topics, I selected culture and its aspects prior to this pandemic. So I went through some literature in this regard, and I found certain amazing things, as already Professor Govind Reddy has pointed out. It is a rich culture, a mixture of a blend of so many regional ideas, regional concepts. So at the present, we are going through the pandemic, which is unknown to the mankind. So earlier it is said in 1918-20, there was the Spanish flu, which threatened the whole world. Now it is in year 2020 and 2021. We have witnessed a great change in physical, economical, and social conditions due to this COVID pandemic. So the outcome, what is the outcome of this? The outcome of the first wave and second wave COVID-19 has resulted in greater emphasis on preventing as well as managing health in the future. So in this context, it has become necessary to examine the role of culture and its contribution in the early civilization. Now, why I'm pointing out here is that the medical model, biomedical model that we have followed for a long period, nearly about 300 years, focuses only on pathogens and chemical imbalances in the body. Whereas later developments in the medical field and psychology brought out the limitation of the biomedical model, which included only on bacterial theory or what we call as germ theory. Now this, of course, we developed, scientists developed a lot of medicines, antibiotics, and so on to help in bringing down the contagious diseases or infectious diseases, and also helped in surgery and other areas. But we have seen limitations. Now itself, it is very evident how to tackle the pandemic now. Is it only the medical field that is going to give direction or the other? So in this context, culture has a lot to say about the role. So what is culture? Culture is the set of ideas, behaviors, attitudes, and traditions that exist within large groups of people. So these ideas, behaviors, traditions are passed from one generation to the next and are typically resistant to change over time. So this is what we see. So it is ideas, behaviors, traditions that are passed on from one generation to the next. So it is a continuous lineage that we see. Now, coming to Indian culture, India is a destination of different traditions. Indian culture and the traditions are something which has now become renowned all across the world. As Professor Reddy already pointed out, visitors from abroad have appreciated the way of living style, education, cleanliness, and so on. So Indian traditions are unique, and most of these originate from ancient Indian scriptures and texts, as Professor Reddy pointed out, Vedas, Upanishads, and Puranas, Itihasas, and so on. These have dictated the way of life in India for thousands of years. Now, coming to the role of culture in disease prevention, India is the most ancient civilization and has its own way of living. The scriptures mention it as Sanatana way, the ancient way of living, or Sanatana Sanskriti. It has customs, traditions, and culture which define the different code of ethics, behavior, lifestyles, and every aspect of human life. It tells us about our daily routine, type of diet, the exercise or yoga asanas and rituals, and so on. It is not a religion as many people believe. It is a way of living. The Sanatana Sanskriti is above the religion and based on experiences rather than blind teachings and followings. The Sanatana way of living is much ancient to Hinduism. This was the religion and now also being practiced by majority of people in this geographical area. The principles of Sanatana Sanskriti were central to Hinduism. The invaluable gift of India's ancient tradition are in three things: Sanatana Sanskriti, Yoga, and Ayurveda. Sanatana Sanskriti defines how to live a life, whereas Yoga unites mind, body, and spirit for attainment of physical, mental, and spiritual health. And the third thing, Ayurveda, it deals with preventing diseases and promoting positive health. All these are known to increase immunity and our defense mechanism essentially needed to fight all diseases, which includes COVID-19. So in the earlier level, we have seen the body having natural immunity. This natural immunity has to be stepped up. Now we have acquired immunity in the form of vaccines that we take. So our lifestyle, behavior, and nutrition are key factors to fight from diseases. Now we have given a lot of importance and focus on pathogens holding them, that is COVID virus, trying to check it from spreading largely. So how we can do it? So our lifestyle, behavior, and nutrition, they are going to buffer this impact. The Sanatana way of living has stressed on these tenets for living a healthy life. Sanatana practice have many of the preventive measures essentially required to fight COVID-19 too. So these ancient measures are capable of preventing pandemic and are in coherence with our modern epidemiological and scientific knowledge. Now, what are the cultural aspects that we come across? As I reviewed the literature, I have recognized the following. One is yoga and Ayurveda. Another is cleanliness, what we call as shaucha. And the other is social stratification in the way of social distance. Then traditional way of wearing mask, what we call as gamcha. Ancient way of disposal of dead bodies and rituals. These are the five aspects that I have recognized for presentation. Now let me go through shaucha or cleanliness. The concept of cleanliness is vital in earlier traditions. Patanjali, if you take up, in Yoga Sutras gives description of cleanliness, hygiene, and purity. Cleanliness is viewed as one of the niyamas too, that is laws. The others are non-violence, truth, non-stealing, and sense control, controlling your senses. The cleanliness or purity of anything decides if it is usable or not. The importance is given to hand washing, cleaning of body, surroundings, and objects to be used. The use of unclean object was rather a sin in ancient tradition. Cleanliness gives rise to purity of mind, contentment, one-pointedness, that is what we call as concentration, conquest of the senses, and competency to attain self-realization, what is called as Atma Darshana. Cleanliness is a prime duty as per Indian culture and traditions from the earlier level itself. Violation of cleanliness of body, mind, or soul was considered as a sin. This is quite similar to these COVID-19 times where not washing hand is a sin. Every celebrity, sports person, and others are requesting to wash hands with soap or sanitizer regularly. The cultural philosophy further stresses on cleanliness of environment too. Atharva Veda mentions the earth as a mother, a living force, and the Indian culture was following hygienic practices and environmental friendly methods of waste disposal to sustain healthy life. The second one is what we have as the Indian way to welcome, or a form of social distancing. The Indian way of greeting one another don't require touching or coming close. Namaskar was used as a way of greeting. Even now, that is what is being followed. What we mean by Namaskar, I bow to the divine in you, and is a way of saying, may our minds meet, indicated by the folded palms placed before the chest. This is an evidence of India's rich cultural heritage being in line modern scientific rationale. Its importance is being realized for implementing the social distancing. Many famous international personalities have adopted Indian Namaskar for greeting others instead of handshake. Ancient Indian culture also practiced social distancing to maintain spread of infectious diseases by social stratification. That is what we call as varnashrama. I'm not going into the details of it. Sometime later when we take up for discussion, I may elaborate. Now, protection by using mask is also a contribution of the early culture itself. Indian gomcha is a traditional thin cotton cloth used very commonly in many rural parts. We call it as anga vastra, or a piece of cloth that we carry always. This works well as a mask considering its availability. Its appearance and name varies from region to region and is produced as a handicraft, but it serves an excellent purpose of protecting public from contracting diseases. Then coming to the next point is Indian food, what we call as Sattvic Bhojan. Indian traditional food is mainly vegetarian. Use of vegetables, fruits, and species is essential. Utilization of local foods was promoted in Sattvic Bhojan for staying healthy and fit. We have seen in Bhagavad Gita the relation of food and health as very well established. So I'm not going to present the quote, but briefly to tell, foods dear to those in the mode of goodness, increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. So this is what we see in Bhagavad Gita. We also know that vitamin D plays a significant role in our immune system. Vitamin D synthesis occurs naturally in our skin cells on exposure to sunlight. Daily exposure to early morning sunlight is required. It is advised to get exposure of sunlight, sunbath for 30 to 40 minutes in a week with about 40% of body covered. Now, the Sanatan way of living had a concept of offering water to the sun, what we call as salutation to the sun, just after taking bath in the morning in minimal clothes. The early morning exposure to the sunlight is done regularly on the whole week, serves the modern scientific recommendation. We need to realize the science behind our culture and follow it. Now, this disposal of dead bodies and rituals. In the ancient cultural system, dead bodies are cremated by burning to ashes, a complete mechanism of killing or destruction of disease-causing agents. In the process of burial, it might transmit infection through worms. Those worms could be eaten by birds or bats and might again be eaten by humans to get infected. We know how this COVID-19 virus got spread into the mankind in the Wuhan and elsewhere. In the ancient system during these rituals, the person who performed the last rites has to discard all his clothes, remove hairs, and take bath many times, and remain almost in quarantine for at least 13 days. Probably these 13 days compulsory quarantine would have been made equal to the duration of incubation period of infectious diseases. So this is what we see in the practice as a ritual. The ancient traditions of removing hair and staying separate were probably to reduce the chance of spreading infection. Thus, we understand that ancient cultural practices were scientific, evidence-based, and quite efficient to prevention of infectious diseases. Now, coming to yoga, yoga uses various postures, breathing exercises, and meditation to improve overall health. Yoga was developed in ancient India as a spiritual practice too, thousands of years ago. Yoga is one of the best ways available for stress management. And on 21st, as you're aware, we are going to observe the International Day of Yoga. It emphasizes unifying mind with body and spirit to promote mental, spiritual, and physical well-being. Even in times of COVID-19, yoga will not only improve the lung capacity, but also stabilize mental health to overcome the stress and depression associated with pandemic. I have already attended a number of cases in this regard and I have recommended the practice of yoga, practice of pranayama, and meditation. Ayurveda originated in India more than 5,000 years ago and is often called the mother of all healing. In Sanskrit, it means the science of life. The emphasis is on prevention of illness, encourages the maintenance of health through close attention to balance in one's life, right thinking, diet, lifestyle, and the use of herbs. So with these points that I have covered, I hope I have looked into some of the positive aspects of Indian culture during the early stages. I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share my ideas, some of the references I have made in this regard. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful and insightful talk. Now, I welcome our second vibrant speaker of the webinar, Professor Indrani ji from Guwahati University, Assam. I am privileged to introduce Professor Indrani ji. She completed her teaching of 30 years at Department of Psychology, Guwahati University. She has guided 15 PhD students, published 50 research articles in reputed journals. Professor Indrani ji has received many awards, including Best Performance Award in 2016 by the Indian Psychology Association and the prestigious Ugadi Puraskaram State Award in 2020 for her contribution in teaching field. Now, I request Professor Indrani ji to speak on the topic positive aspects of Indian culture during pandemic. Madam, now floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. Audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, audible, madam. Audible.
Yeah.
You are audible.
Okay. So, Professor B.G. Reddy, President WCOP, Professor Subhashini, General Secretary WCOP, and the previous speaker, Professor Krishnamurthy, and whoever is present in this webinar. And of course, I'm very pleased to see my friend, Professor Sadhan Das, who is also, I could see that he is online with us. So the topic given to me today is positive aspects of Indian culture during the pandemic. I thank Professor Reddy for giving me this opportunity to speak to everybody, whoever is present here, and share some of my thoughts. At the outset, I must acknowledge that I have very little knowledge of ancient Hindu scriptures. I come from a part of the country which is Northeast India, and that is a melting pot of different ethnic groups, of different religions. And that is the kind of, space from where I have come. And I would like to share my thoughts on every aspect of Indian culture. Now, since the topic given to me is about positive aspects of Indian culture during the pandemic, I will be covering only those aspects which we are seeing during the pandemic. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has, as we know, devastated the world in terms of loss of life, livelihood, and also education has changed from the traditional face-to-face education to an online mode. And in the midst of all these disruptions and the gloom, which due to the loss of life and also restrictions on human life, there are also some instances of positivity due to the culture of the Indian diaspora, among many other causes also. Now, Professor Murthy has already, mentioned quite a few aspects of Indian culture, which I will just touch upon. The first thing, of course, is our mode of greeting. In India, it is our cultural norm to greet with pranam or namaskar. It is, some say namaste, some say namaskar, we say namaskar, but it is the same thing. And this is something which we are seeing that the whole world is appreciating, and many have also, taken this practice from our culture. In fact, if you see on TV, you will see some world leaders also, using namaste. If not saying it verbally, they're at least, putting their palms together and as in greeting. Now, this greeting is not only in India, but almost all of Southeast Asia. Then we have seen also Prince Charles, who nowadays, is greeting people with a namaskar. And so this is one aspect which the world has taken from us, and it is definitely a positive aspect, because in Western countries, they usually shake hands. But the COVID-19 is not permitting us to do that, them to do that. And that is why adopted Namaskar. The second aspect, which again, Professor Murthy has already touched upon, is the change which has come in our diet. Most Indians now are opting for a sattvic diet, which has come from Ayurveda. It is based upon sustainable plants. It's a sustainable plant-based diet. And because, everybody is trying now to boost their immunity. And that is why they are opting for a diet which is plant-based and also which is organic. And it has been seen that at least in our part of the country, in the Northeast, people are going in for organic vegetables and fruits, and even organic farming has taken off in a big way. So this is one of the positive, you can say, changes which has been brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Apart from the sattvic diet, there are many immunity boosting supplements also which people are taking nowadays. Of course, we don't know how effective it is or not, but definitely it doesn't protect a person from the virus, but it boosts the immunity. Like people nowadays are taking Chyawanprash, they're taking Kada, and these are all, supplements as per the Ayurveda holistic science. And while we are still on the diet, one thing which has also come about in our family life, a change in our family life, is that the family is eating together now. As we are locked up in our homes because of the COVID-19 lockdown, it is found that many people are reporting that they have more family time together, and along with that, they are also having their meals together now. Earlier, it would be, that maybe since nowadays we have both the father and the mother working outside, they would be out and the children would eat before they come home. And, like everybody was having at different times according to their own convenience. But now family time together has increased, and a lot of, as we know, a lot of the experiences and stories are shared when you have more time together. And one of the good things which has come about is that families are eating together. So that is the second point I wanted to tell you about. The third, again, has been also covered by Professor Murthy, but in the recent past, we have seen that yoga and meditative practices and pranayams have become very popular across the world. Now, with the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, it has become even more popular because everybody has become health conscious, and it has been promoted in all media. And that is why we find now that people have taken to the practice of yoga to remain healthy, and meditation because of the stress and mental health issues which have been brought about by the lockdown and the fear of the pandemic of the virus. And of course, pranayama is most important, mainly because it has to do with our respiratory system. Uh, the practice of pranayam and the different exercises within it builds our respiratory system, which is the system which is attacked by the COVID virus. And that is why everybody has taken to this yoga, meditation, and pranayam. And it is also been reported that those who have been seeking online counseling and so on, they have also been uh, told to practice meditation and pranayam so that they have stable mental health, they are not too stressed out, and it also helps against anxiety, which the anxiety reactions have been seen in many people because of the COVID-19. Another change which has come about because of the COVID-19, and it is definitely a positive change, is the online courses which are now available. The Hindu University in USA is giving many online courses which one can join. Then there is the Ramayana School, which is also, presenting or offering some courses for the young children. And then ISKCON is also doing that. And there are also churches across the nation who are holding prayers and Bible classes. Now, on TV also, we find that the old serials of Mahabharat and so on, they are back. And these are all they are related to all the old practices or the old scriptures of Hindu culture. But here I'm saying Hindu culture, but we find that in the Northeast, in many states where the majority is Christian, the churches are holding the online classes on Bibles and so on. Another point is that we have seen that every Indian household always has a particular room or a place which is dedicated to the deities or the god that they pray to. Now, this is found in the most humble of homes to the most well-off. And but seeing the devastation which has been caused by the COVID-19, we find that these daily prayers with the rituals that were carried out every day have become even more important. But more than that, people are now going even deeper into their connect with the Almighty. And there we find that the spirituality of the Indian diaspora has increased because they are expressing gratitude for maybe, being spared the virus or having overcome it for whatever reason. And many feel, since, the exact cause of the COVID virus has still not been found, many feel that it is the wrath of God. And that is why they are also more conscious now of their connection to nature. And these are certain positive aspects which have come up in our country. Then there is the most important aspect I find that we have seen in our country because of the culture that we have is that of philanthropy and community consciousness. We know that the Indian society is a collective society versus what is known as the individualistic society of the Western countries. Now, the collective society, some of its characteristics are that they are self-sacrificing, they are dependable, they are generous, and they are helpful to others. As against the individualistic, which are also very good characteristics of being strong, self-reliant, assertive, independent. Now, because of our community consciousness and our cultural ethos of being helpful to others, we find that volunteerism and altruism has been seen in a large way during the COVID-19 pandemic. In many states, we have seen that community kitchens have been set up, as in Kerala, West Bengal, Karnataka, Nagaland, Assam, and for for distributing meals to those who are COVID positive in the COVID centers, or also to families who are in isolation and in quarantine. Then there are others who have also taken up distribution of grocery, distribution of masks, sanitizers, and we find that there are these communities which have come up, and these communities, they cut across all religious groups. We find Muslim organizations like the Humanitarian Relief Society in Karnataka, the Amumat Society in Hyderabad, Indian Islamic Organization of India. They have all come out and help those who are in need in every way that they can. And then there are also the Hindu religious organizations like Vaishno Devi Mandir, Sai Baba Trust, Rani Sati Mandir in Rajasthan. All of them again have contributed not only to the Prime Minister's Relief Fund or the Chief Ministers, but they have also been distributing ration kits. They have been giving free meals. Now, all these are a reflection of the community consciousness of a collective society. But of course, one community stands out across the nation, and that is the Sikh community, because they have worked to provide the needy at every step. When the migrants were on the road, it was the Sikhs who were helping them. When Delhi was seeing a shortage of oxygen and hospital beds, the Sikh community, they gave food, oxygen, medicine. In fact, they set up a hospital in Delhi where the treatment is absolutely free. And this is not something that is new to this community. This has been happening for years. Whenever anybody faces crisis, we find it is the Sikh community which comes up. And this is all because of the Indian cultural ethos, which is there in our country. And so these are some of the positivities that I find that, our country and the people of our country have come up with. And which is not only at the individual level, but also at the community level and also at the social level. Here I need to mention that the state of Mizoram in Northeast India, in a study, has been found the happiest state during the COVID-19. And this has mainly been because of the social action that the people have taken up during the COVID-19 pandemic, where every neighborhood, every person who is, socially, they just work for the others. And they are organized around the church, but they are not, it's not only the church which is doing the work, but at every level of society, everybody is of an altruistic bent of mind because they are brought up that way. That is a part of their culture. And so we find that most people over there are working for the betterment of the people who are in need. Now, although I have been told to speak on the positive side, I feel that too much focus on positivity can be toxic because then we do not look at the downside of our culture. Now, because we are a collective society, it is also found that our society is highly suggestible due to the strong in-group feelings. And that is why we find that there have been many instances of violence against frontline workers. There has been prejudice and discrimination, especially against the people of the Northeast, where they are called chinky and so on, mainly because the virus it is said that it has come from Wuhan, and that is in China. So they are, discriminated against as being like Chinese, so chinky and so on. Now, these are only a few instances. Even our medical fraternity, who are at the front line and on whom all of us are dependent, they have also not been spared from violence and prejudice and stigma. Because, when they come, many have reported that those who are working in the front line, when they come home, they are not, if they are in a rented place, the landlords, they are not, very nice towards them. Many of them have been also asked to vacate their houses. So these are the downside of the Indian culture. And it has come about because of our collective nature. But this is only a few. What has seen us survive the pandemic till now is because of the positive side of our culture and that of the Indian culture. And that is Indian culture across the country and also across all religious groups. Thank you so much. This is what I wanted to share with you. And I think the time is also up. And thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your amazing talk. Now I'll hand over to my two presidents, sir.
Yeah. Now it is time for a discussion from the audience. Please respond and react and contribute. Please.
Bridge ready, sir? Am I audible?
Yeah, please, sir. You are audible, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I'm extremely happy, Professor A.R. Krishnamurthy and Madam Indrani. They have beautifully narrated all the aspects of our Indian culture, particularly how it is useful in the pandemic time. And since my childhood, I used to hear from my teachers, Indian culture is age old and for the past 5,000 years, and it has strong foundation based on Vedas, Upanishads, and also the highest moral values in life, ethical values, and correct way of living, so that we can live 100 years without any guilty consciousness. So much of foundation is there in our culture. And A.R. Krishnamurthy has beautifully said about the yoga and all the aspects of how they help us in our life. And I have been practicing Indian culture and I am experiencing the sublime beauty of this. And I'm blessed, I'm convinced our culture is the great in the whole world. And I have been practicing it and I have been successful in practicing this. And my health is very good. I don't have BP, I don't have sugar, and I get sleep, and then I got good digestion. And I'm enjoying every moment in my life because I have been following our Indian culture, the standards of moral and ethical values, particularly joint family system, and most important, taking care of our parents. And highest importance is given in our culture to take care of our parents, which is not there in Western countries. And they have been realizing now about this from our culture. And unfortunately, India is unfortunately, India is imitating the Western culture and suffering also. Way of life, marriage system, and divorces, all these things, not taking care of the parents. They are imitating the Western culture, Indians. So it is most unfortunate thing. All the Indians should realize our culture is the best and very healthy, and we really enjoy our life if we follow our culture. I really thank A.R. Krishnamurti Garu and Indrani Madam Garu. They have beautifully narrated all the aspects of Indian culture. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sudhakar Reddy garu. You have given very good supportive points
Oh, yes.
with as far as our Indian culture is concerned, and in toto, another point you have mentioned that you are following it.
Yes, sir.
We are really congratulating you, sir, and you have
Thank you.
also expressed your agony. Unfortunately, our being Indians are following now that adapting to some kind of Western culture also.
Yes.
So these are really the points which you have mentioned,
Yes.
really quite commendable.
Yes, sir.
Now, any other from our audience?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Sir, this is Sanjeev Kumar Talari.
Ah, wonderful. How are you? Sanjeev Kumar, please.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, very good talk from you, and really we enjoyed your talk. It's very realistic. And my view here is, as we know that we are living in ice world, so we can brand today's world is a ice world, highly informative, highly communicative, and a highly entertaining world we are living in. The problem here is, and without our intentions, and the Western countries are bulldozing their culture, Western countries are bulldozing their lifestyles into the blood of Indians. That is where we are missing our fragments, Indian heritage and culture, or ethics and values and morals and everything. We are trying to going far away from that bottom line. What makes India proud among the world countries? And recent step taken by the Indian government, even Supreme Court recently announced from next month onwards, we should not use the word India in the column of nation. They clearly mentioned to mention Bharat instead of India. So hope that soon we'll get back our ethics and values. Soon we get back our culture. So hopefully, I'm very positive that again we'll get back our culture into our blood. And definitely, it's our responsibility, being a psychologist or being a teacher, it's our responsibility to deliver and to direct our children, or else our juniors, or else whoever who come across in that way. And really, thank you very much for all the insights you delivered today, ma'am. Very good evening to all.
Thank you. May I just say one word to you? You know, our culture is very much intact, okay? We are doing very well. And what you say about, you know, us taking on the Western culture and so on, I feel that they are also taking our culture. It is a both-way thing, because especially in the last few, you know, years or decades, I would say, the Western culture or the people from the Western world have learned about the richness that is there in India, and they have adopted it. So it is not as though, you know, that we are taking on Western, they are also taking our culture. And it is good that, you know, we are proud of our ethics and morals and so on, but they also have their own, you know, code of ethics and morals. It is not as though they are free of all that. Okay, every culture has their own positives and negatives. So
Yes.
please let us see it in that light. We are doing very well, no doubt.
Even in times,
You agree with me or not, Sanjeev?
Yes, I agree completely. No doubt in that.
Uh,
No doubt in that.
I would like to add one point here. Why we are not following the earlier traditions or cultural values? It is because it is practiced so mechanically, we have lost the meaning. See, when our elders used to ask us to change the dress soon after coming home, or washing our hands and feet and all that, we would say, why should we do it? Because the importance of cleanliness, the importance of these practices are not explained. So when it is transmitted mechanically, I think we lose the spirit of it. So people get reluctant to be very mechanical. So it is in the hands of the elders who have failed to carry on, communicate the importance of these values to the society or youngsters. Take, for instance, philanthropic activity. Why do you carry it on? Or why cannot you stick to yourself? So is it necessary? When such discouraging talks are given, people hesitate to extend their services or their philanthropic nature. So this way, I think to some extent, we are also responsible for failure of carrying on these values to the youngsters.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for your nice contribution. Now, in our midst, Professor Suresh sir is with us. Professor Suresh ji.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right, I agree with Professor Krishnamurthy that we fail to explain the benefits of practicing our culture. But at the same time, I could see the reason also, because our culture is not one that is formal, which is being taught. The belief is that as you practice, you will experience. When you experience, it will strengthen within you. But what happened was people just assumed that and then made youngsters to practice, where one generation after the other started rigidly adhering to the rituals, and then they failed to understand the spirit behind it. If our elders had also explained the spirit behind it, then we youngsters would have known what to look for, and then they would have developed a belief in them, they would have practiced, but that has not happened. And unfortunately, the benefits of our culture, say for example, yoga, a Westerner investigates and comes and tells that these are the benefits of yoga. And even here, what happens is we try to quote the Westerners to understand yoga rather than our own people. So that is the type of attitude that we have developed. I think we will have to call out. See, during this webinar, I can understand Indian culture is so rich, and these two people have given the essence of it very clearly. I could understand how much they would have struggled to cull out the essence and give it to people. I really congratulate them, and Professor Krishnamurthy has actually pointed it out, and I think we need to explain the spirit behind our cultural practices so that the youngsters will understand and will follow and benefit in future. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Suresh sir. Now, in our midst, senior most professors, Professor Bhupendra Singh is with us, and Sadan Das Gupta is also with us. Sir, kindly say, just kindly add from your side. Your voice is not audible, sir. Sadan Das Gupta ji, your voice is not audible. Please unmute yourself.
He has to unmute.
Please. Sir,
No,
please,
not yet. Not yet.
please unmute.
Please open the mic. She has to open the mic and unmute it. Yes, sir. Now it's
Yes.
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 Yeah, now it is audible.
Now
Please. Sir.
audible.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
sir.
are audible.
Okay, now okay, now I want to that I have some connectivity problem in my schedule now, and it would be better if we can discuss after all the presentations. Okay, because I have some connectivity problem in my area. That's why I'm requesting you.
Okay, no problem, sir. Now, Babendra Singh, sir.
Yes, sir. How are you, sir? Hello, everyone. Sir, actually, sir, I am driving. So, sir, very nice webinar, sir, especially Dr. Krishnamurthy ji, in my senior. Very most welcome. So, sir, if you don't mind, sir, I am driving.
Okay. You please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Sir,
Right.
very nice webinar, sir.
Right, sir. So kind of you. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. Anybody from audience?
Sir, I have one more idea.
Please.
This is for ma'am. I want to ask ma'am to get some clarification regarding this.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, actually, what is like Amazon buying and selling process. If we take, we order whatever we want on Amazon.
Amazon, yes.
Amazon will send products through courier boy to home, and then we
Yes.
consume it. That's the process. And the same system earlier was like all the culture which is coming to the younger side of country through parenting or through parents. But today what is happening? Parent system has been bypassed.
Okay.
Because of that, the country is directly coming to the younger side, and the younger side is not having such caliber to discriminate what is right and what is wrong for them.
How is it coming directly?
Through the technological advancements. I have my mobile phone directly. Yeah. Technological advancements. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I agree with you to some extent. And that is that, the parents, they are not giving the quality time that they should be giving their children at a young age. And also this, what has come, the mobile, which has come into every child's hand almost.
Yes,
right from when they are babies, I have seen the mother gives her the mobile to the child, to the baby, to keep her or him occupied so that the mother can do her work. So, this is something that which is being introduced so early in life that they become addicted to it. They will not have their food without, watching some cartoon on the mobile or something like that, which wasn't there earlier. And definitely that has affected of course, it is good to be, techno savvy, but there is an appropriate age for everything. And I agree that to some extent, the parents have not, taken up their parenting with responsibility. And that is why what you're saying is true to some extent.
Because thank you for the explanation, ma'am.
Sorry?
Thank you very much for the explanation, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there any question from your side, Sanjeev Kumar?
Sir, I have one. Shall I go with that, sir?
Hello?
I have one more question. Yeah,
welcome.
Actually, ma'am, and we were certified by some companies to teach ethical values and human values and ethics for all engineering and management students. After 45 years, I first time come to know about what is the real meaning of prosperity. We used to wish you a happy and prosperous life. And prosperity meaning really I come to know recently. See, in the training period, I come to know that prosper is nothing but having sufficient amount for happy living, not having abundant money or abundant assets.
You should read, positive psychology. Read Martin Seligman's PERMA model, where he talks about flourishing. Okay? That is, after one gains well-being, then ultimately what a person wants in life is to flourish. And flourish doesn't mean that, in monetary terms. Okay? It is beyond well-being and happiness.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, Sanjeev Kumar.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think no more questions from your side.
Yes, sir, absolutely, absolutely.
Right. I am really happy.
Thank you.
Anybody from the participants? Okay. Now, I request Dr. T.D. Vimala Garu just to say vote of thanks by covering the entire program. Please, madam.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Please, sir. 1 minute. 1 minute. Please, you can contribute.
No, no contribution. I am asking you. You have not scheduled my lecture today.
No, sir. It is on 21st, I believe.
Yeah, yours on 21st Monday, sir. That's what I am going to announce it after vote of thanks, sir.
But no. But you have not informed me regarding this. I was informed that my lecture will be today at 6 p.m.
Whose lecture?
My presentation will be today at 6 p.m. You told me.
No. 21st. I think you have mistaken me. 21st. And yourself and one more professor. I just see just with another madam is also here. T.D. Vimala madam is here, your partner. And some corrections. I am sending that brochure to you soon after this meeting is over.
But I have not received it, sir. I have not received that you have sent the corrected version. That I have not received. And it was my knowledge that I have my lecture today at 6 p.m.
No, sir. I'm very sorry. You please check the brochure also. I have not sent.
The topic, sir, Professor Sabandas Guptaji, the topic that you are going to be is different.
Family issues.
Yes, sir. Family, this thing. So it is slated on 21st, sir.
Yeah, please.
At what time?
6 o'clock only.
Sir.
6 p.m. Same timing, sir. Same timings.
I'm sorry, sir. It was not brought to your notice.
No. I have not.
Yeah. I will send communication.
I received the communication from Professor Reddy, sir, stating that your talk will be on 21st with regard to family relations, I think.
Yeah, sir.
But this was not in my knowledge. Very sorry. Okay.
Very sorry, sir, for the mistake that has happened.
No problem.
It's on 21st, sir.
Okay, I will try.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sorry for the please check out the communication which I have already made. As far as my knowledge goes, yours is on 21st only. Yeah. Okay, I will send the brochure before 9 o'clock tonight. Madam Garu, Vipul
Okay.
please.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So, at the outset, I thank WCOP for choosing the topic Indian culture during pandemic. So this which re-glorifies the Indian culture to the world through this WCOP webinar. So this is really a topic which should be given to all the World Congress of Psychologists. So it re-glorifies the Indian culture to the world. And again, I thank Professor B.G. Reddy Garu for a brief introduction, but an effective introduction about Indian culture. And I profusely thank the eminent Professor Dakshinamurthy Garu, who is always active and vibrant in his in all discussions. And really, I thank him for giving a detailed description and explanation about all our aspects of culture, yoga, Vedas, Ayurveda, and our eating habits, the disciplined eating habits, and what to eat, and including the last rituals. This is a very important thing, what we conduct in Indian culture. So I extremely thankful to you, sir, for again making us to think about all these positive aspects of Indian culture, which we know that, all of us know that Indian culture is having all these, but in the process of doing so many things, it is really recollecting again and for following this thing. And thank you very much, sir, for your excellent speech on culture, on our culture. And I thank Professor Indraji for her excellent presentation on how Indian culture has conducted during the pandemic times. So this is a really extremely effective, madam. And the spirituality of the culture and how it showed our, explained our mental health and our connectivity with the nature, the culture of community connectivity and the collective society, community consciousness, all this made all of us more comfortable during the pandemic time than any other people of different cultures. And also, of course, there are some little things which are negative, but they are negligible. So basically, our spirituality made us, as you said, the spirituality, which all Indians are, whatever the religion, whatever is that, we are all filled with the spirituality, which made us more comfortable and made us to face this challenge more effectively than many other countries. And I thank Dr. Sudhakar Reddy Garu for his interaction, and young T. Sanjeev Kumar Garu, who has interacted and who has given so many doubts and very active participation, and for his enthusiasm to learn so many things. I thank Sanjeev Kumar and Professor Suresh Garu and other professors who attended, and Professor Sadhu Gupta and other professors who attended this. And finally, in the globalized world, where the cultural mingling is taking place. It is a globalized world, every culture is mingling with other cultures. And let us try to protect our culture, and let us transact our culture to youngsters through reasoning, as it is suggested by Professor Dakshinamurthy Garu. Thank you very much, sir, finally. And the participants who actively participated in this webinar. Thank you once again to all the speakers and Professor B.G. Reddy Garu, the president and the participants. Thank you very much once again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, madam.
before winding up, it is my bounded duty once again thank our beloved Professor Krishnamurthy Garu, who is also the core committee member of this WCOP, for his he's so active in almost all the webinars. He used to be with us, sharing the knowledge and active involvement in participation of all the activities. Once again, I extend a warm thanks to, with the befolded hands, to Krishnamurthy sir. And here,
Thank you, sir.
really, I extend, say I have no words. Madam Indrani ji was referred by our first day speaker, from Haryana. See, the very first talk, I just spoken to her over my cell phone. Madam, readily accepted, for which, I really extending my befolded namaskar to Indrani ji. And today, your talk is quite memorable. And both the speakers once again reminded the Indian culture, and the other speakers too, say Sudhakar Reddy and Professor Suresh, and here our another core committee member, Dr. T. Vimala Garu. So Sanjeev Kumar, so who is actively involved, and all other participants also. Once again, by individually, I thank all the participants also, and thank you, one and all. Thank you, one and all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Good night. And Sadan Das Gupta ji, I am also Bhupendra Singh. I am also with the befolded hands. I am really thank these two eminent professors who have attended in our webinar. Professor Sadan Das Gupta ji, Bhupendra Singh also. So thank you, one and all. Have a nice day. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Reddy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.